Could the USC Trojans win a national championship? Let's take it a step further. How could USC win a national championship? The fact that we're having this conversation in itself just makes me happy. I am not a journalist, have some bias to me. I grew up in Southern California for a period of my life, and that period had Pete Carroll, had Reggie Bush, had Matt Leinart. So like some of my earliest memories of college football, plugging into the sport and being an actual fan, USC is at a lot of those forefront of those memories. And so just the brand of USC having a chance to make some noise, I think, is really good for college football. For USC fans, you remember where you were prior to Lincoln Riley. The brand was not at where you expect it to be. And now with Caleb Williams coming back, with all that you've done through the portal, with all the pieces you have on this roster, you look at what Vegas says, you feel good about USC making a run at a national title. So back to the original question, how would this happen? We're going to start at the base level. Quite frankly, just in life in general, this is true. Do the strengths of this unit, the strengths of this team, offset to a net positive when you compare them to the negatives? Used very broad verbiage there, but USC, it's no secret, the offense is the strength of this team. Scored around 40 a game last year. Caleb Williams, I already said he's back. He is a generational talent. He's the best player, the best quarterback, the best whatever you want to call it in college football. And the defense last year, when you look at the games they lost, it wasn't enough. Now, the good news is you bring back 78% of those guys, depending on how you look at that. I look at that as, okay, 78%, I say of those guys, 78% of the production on defense returns, and you would hope those guys that are back are able to get more comfortable in the scheme, and that's the way it sounds out of spring football, so, keep an eye on that. The cheetah runs 80 miles an hour. I said, JD, why are we talking about cheetahs? Because I think it could be a good analogy for USC football. 80 miles an hour, that's what they run at. That is elite. You're catching a lot of prey. You run at 80 miles an hour. Now, what's the negative? Can only do it for 30 seconds. Has to rest 30 minutes after running 80 miles an hour. So for USC, the way that I'm looking at it and compared to the cheetah, when we're running 80 miles an hour, is that enough to get us a meal? Like if we're scoring 40 points a game, is that enough to win us football games? Now, make sure we're clear on this. You have to be effective with your strength. The cheetah better catch something when he's running 80 miles an hour for those 30 seconds. He better catch something. He better eat it. It better be a good deal. For USC, it better be we're up 30 points at half, game over. Like they're saying, Uncle, that's the deal here. We've caught and killed our prey before our negatives even have a chance to impact this game. I got more thoughts on the defense, I promise you. But the reason why I talk about this with the offense is that's going to be their calling card. That's going to be the front porch yet again. No matter how improved the defense is, Caleb Williams is Caleb Williams, and you're going to ask him to do Caleb Williams things, right? On top of that, though, there's some other key pieces that leave Los Angeles from the 2022 squad. Jordan Addison, I know he was hurt different parts of the year. He's still a really good receiver for you. You still have to account for him being gone. Travis Dye was your bell cow until he got hurt last year. He's gone. So you ask guys like Dorian Singer, transfer from Arizona, step up and play a role right away. Guys like Marshawn Lloyd went from one USC in the SEC to the USC in Southern California, and now he's here from South Carolina. You're going to ask him to carry the load for you. I think he's a really good back. A lot of people were excited to see what he did in the spring football game because he was shaking and baking, making people miss. You hear what I'm saying. These guys need to add to what USC already does well. The assumption for me is very much so USC will be dynamic offensively yet again. But these guys have to hit the ground running. It can't be this, let's figure it out eventually in week 6. We'll figure it out. Then we'll be at our top of our game. No, it's got to be week 1. And I believe they'll do that. But I just want to make sure we're on the same page. The new additions on the offensive line as well. That unit's getting retooled a little bit as well. Different positions being filled, different faces that are stepping in there. That has to be right away. Because the defensive side, we got some thoughts on. And I don't think they're all bad. So stick around for that. Make sure you're subscribed right here. We talk college football here every single day. USC fans, we're glad to have you a part of this. All y'all that have joined us recently, thank you for that. If you're new to the party, jump on in. The water's fine. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram at JD Piquel. Just love hearing from y'all, quite honestly. So defensively, I think a Pac-12 championship is expected. like program-wide, they're expecting a Pac-12 title. That's not what we're talking about, though. We're talking about a national title. So to win a Pac-12 title, we'll start there. I think you just need the guys that you brought in to be as advertised. Anthony Lucas, really talented defensive lineman, coming to you from Texas A&M. Have him be what you expect him to be. Mason Cobb, linebacker from Oklahoma State, already taking on a leadership role at USC. Have him be what you expected him to be. Because all the guys that are back should be improved, having been in their second year in the system. Just conventional wisdom would tell you that. They should be in position to win a Pac-12 title. Now, will they do it? Comes down to execution. But everything is there to win a Pac-12 title. To win a national title, I think you need guys to do more than what is expected of them. Like Anthony Lucas, very good player. I need him to be more than what we thought he would be when he got to campus. Mason Cobb, same thing, more than what he thought he would be. Because defensively, to win a national title, you're likely having to go toe-to-toe with some of these teams that have really, really good offensive lines and that are going to impose their will physically on whoever they play. And so USC, you may not need to dominate in those games, but you need to hold your water. You need to be able to be up to par with what we need you to do. Okay, so again, we're assuming it's a Georgia or a Michigan or Alabama in the national title game if they were to get there, because those are the teams the last couple of years that have really been in the mix. Alabama, I guess, not so much, but you hear what I'm saying. Alabama's Alabama. I don't think Saban's staying down. Another video for another time. But here's the other thing that we can't overlook. Here is one thing that I think is one of the most crucial pieces of what those matchups would entail. Let's say you do play a Georgia. Let's say you do play a Michigan. Those teams have recruited really well. Michigan's really developed well for their talent, if that makes sense. Georgia, though, they've recruited the best talent in the country year in and year out. Like, let's just be real. So when you look at matchups, because football is a game of matchups, if you were to line USC up with Georgia tomorrow, you probably side with Georgia for a lot of those matchups. Like the secondary should be really good at Georgia. Offensive and defensive line should be really good at Georgia. You probably give them the slight edge. We're talking about this in April, but you hear what I'm saying. They probably get the slight edge from the personnel perspective. So how does USC win a national championship short of just going out and getting more ballers in the transfer portal? I think in a game like this, you would need Caleb Williams to be the generational talent that he is. Caleb Williams in his social media bios has Superman, like the word Superman in his bios, or some sort of variation of words having to do with Superman. In these kind of games, you got to be Superman. The thought that comes to my mind when I think about what this could look like, track with me here, Florida opens with Utah coming to the Swamp. And we're saying, listen, Utah probably has more matchups, more experience, more physical in the trenches, it looks like. But the difference could be, I mean, we haven't seen him yet, but the difference could be Anthony Richardson. We don't know what he's going to bring to the table. He's really talented. You and I both know how that went. He went berserk. He won them that football game. For USC to win a national title, there will be some point in time, especially late in the year, likely in the college football playoffs, likely in the national title game, you will need to pack up and get on Caleb Williams' back. He's probably the one that got you there. He's going to need to be the one that finishes the deal for you. Everybody else, hold serve. But Caleb Williams is going to be the one that finishes it. And that ultimately does win a national title for you. That's my own feeling, but I promise you we will track this all the way through to the finish line. USC fans, you found your home. We talk college football here every single day. You're a junkie for this game. We're junkies for this game. A USC psycho, if you will. If you know, you know. Make sure you're locked in. We don't want you to miss anything. All right? Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram at JD Piquel. We're going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.